because not that my life is terrible now, but I'm always looking for productive means to increase the quality of my life. And in 20 years, I hope that I feel younger, I look younger, I experience things for the first time all over again, and I have the means to do that. That would be phenomenal. And if I can interact with beings from different dimensions, I can transcend dimensions. Wow, the possibilities and potentials are literally endless. And this world that we perceive as like gargantuan with 7 billion people, if we can transcend the concept of that being the end all be all of our physical existence, and really just that being a means to an end of understanding our spiritual nature within the universe traveling, that's beautiful. Like that's poetry, and that's art. And I hope that we'll see that within my personal identity's lifetime as a selfish notion, because I mean, I think that literally blow the mind up into fragments, and then those fragments, those scattered fragments, will be able to piece out and explore, and really interact without, like, right now between you and the people that we're sharing this with, there are all these filters. Like, there's all this doubt and questioning, and even like you and I, like two like-minded individuals, there's still like all of this conditioned like competition and all this stuff. If we can break all that stuff down and just be in the moment, then what has happened is we are actually communicating telepathically. And I do believe that telepathy is a great potential for the future of the human race. And if we can get there within my lifetime, then we can communicate with more than just one individual at once. We can communicate with the entire spectrum of human beings at once, and then we can reach the great compromise that will lead to utopia and world peace. And with that being said, I think that there is no greater potential that I can conceive of until we reach that point, and we can assess things from that point. So that is my great hope for the future, that I feel like sharing at this moment.
Okay. That's very interesting.
What do you think? What do you think about thoughts?
What do I think about thoughts?
All right, let's do this. Like let's just talk about Amanda Devik for a second. Like, what are your ambitions and aspirations?
My ambitions and aspirations
Personally.
are personally to help wake, that phrase that has been coined by many these days, is to help wake people up, to help people understand that there's more to living than just rushing through day by day and focusing on the next thing. This Western perspective that we've kind of built up. I'd hope to help shed some light and alleviate a lot of stress and fears associated with that. I also hope to maybe help teach people some keys or some ways of dealing with situations that are pretty, like I said, it's a key.
Right.
It's in math, you have theorems to deal with certain math problems. It doesn't matter how big the problem is.
Right.
You can fix it if you have like a key.
The correct tools.
Right, exactly. And there are certain ways that you can deal with situations that we come upon as humans that you can, if you know this way, that you can just kind of let it pass and let it work to your advantage.
Well, do you still have issues within your personal life?
Sometimes.
Like,
Sometimes.
What are your own limitations?
My own limitations are the fact that I have a hard time expressing a view on the spot because I can see many views. And, like, I can see many different ways of being.
So you're like a mediator between people, actually.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like if we brought like Kim Jong Il and George Bush to the United States, your great strength, or no, well that's I spoke that wrong. If we brought Kim Jong Il and George Bush to a meeting table, your great strength, what you would have to offer the world in that situation, is being able to bring them to some sort of a compromise, because you would take one person's, Kim Jong Il's, for example, objective, and George Bush's objective, and be able to bring them together in the best possible potential way, because you're able to see both points of view.
I could hope to do so, but there's, in politics, obviously, it doesn't really work like that.
How does it work in politics?
Right now, it's very, very, like, intrinsically connected with the corporations and money systems. And it's not like you have two guys sitting down at a table discussing what's best for the world.
Right.
You got two guys at a table discussing what's best for them.
That's very true.
And so it's not like I would want to partake in that anyway.
But isn't that true with any capitalistic society? That it will inevitably lead to people using greed as their motive?
Well, right. I mean, as the famous economic philosopher said, that somebody who goes to buy bread, they don't buy it because they want to give money to the baker. They buy bread because they're hungry. That's their own personal thing. And they're not, and the baker isn't making bread because they want to, satisfy hungry people. They want to get money so that they can do other things.
Right. What do you think about communism?
Ooh, communism. What kind of communism?
Social communism.
Elaborate on that, because people have different views of communism. Are you talking about more of a socialist?
How about we break it down to like a social libertarianism?
A social libertarianism.
Yeah.
So basically, people interact and make the laws as they see, and they are enforced with their kind of... Oh, anarchy.
Yeah, social libertarianism. Like an anarchist state of the world. Do you think that it is conceivable? Like Henry David Thoreau, right? All right. So here's what people don't know about the relationship between Amanda and I, is that I actually hit Amanda up when I was looking for like a hookup online or whatever, and she was one of the few people that I found that was like-minded enough to like delve a little bit into Emerson and Thoreau and this whole transcendentalist thing. And we both, I don't mean to speak for you, but like my understanding is that we both get a lot of inspiration from the transcendentalist movement in the early 1800s.
Right, and we probably came upon it around the same time, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah, we both kind of stumbled upon it at the same time, and like from that it's led to different interests, and we've gone deeper down the roots of like how these people have been inspired, etc., etc. But like Thoreau in Civil Disobedience claims that the government that governs best is the government that governs least, and that one day we'll be ready for no government at all.
Complete self-government, basically. So civil libertarianism.
So anarchy is definitely...
I think anarchy is a little bit different than civil libertarianism as far as how a lot of people perceive anarchy.
Well, but that's the thing, is that we have to break down the perceptions, the quote unquote, because what it is fear, right? Because fear is what prevents people from assuming their greatest potentialities. Like, how is a nuclear physicist going to ever become a nuclear physicist if he's afraid of both fear, he should only be afraid of fear to avoid it, but afraid of both success and failure simultaneously. Because if you're afraid of both failure and success simultaneously, which is what a lot of Americans, at least, I can't speak for other nations because I don't live in other nations, but I do interact with a lot of Americans, and we are afraid of both fear and success simultaneously. So how can somebody reach their greatest potential if they have like double fear compounding on them at all times. And so, like, for me, anyways, I think that the alleviation of fear is great. And it's like you said, I'm bringing it full circle right now. Like, I think that the perception of social libertarianism is such that it's like chaos, violence, disorder, lack of structure, confusion, violence, damaging things, lack of respect for property, things of that nature. And like we did not evolve from a state of ownership. Like there's this really weird spin on the leftist movement now that I think is purported by the people that are behind the Project for the New American Century, that claims that we believe as leftists that that the world is all of ours, so we should take care of it because it's all of ours. We own it. It's ours to preserve and make sustainable. And that's really a spin. It's not. Leftists Leftists should not see the world as all of ours. We should see it as none of ours. Because the second that we start thinking of it as ours, we start doing with it as we please. And I think that is a fallacy and a conspiracy against the leftist movement purported by the right-wing people who actually believe that for themselves. So they project that onto the leftists who should believe that this world doesn't belong to any one of us. So we shouldn't be able to do with it as we please. We should work within our means to take what we need, just like, coming full circle again with the Native Americans and their philosophies on this matter, and
right.
leave the rest to nature. I mean, it goes without saying that the system of factory farming nowadays is smart. Okay, if we kill off all the bovine, then we have no more beef. So what do? We create a system of factory farming to create more bovine than needed so that we never run out of beef. And those genes are always being perpetuated into the future so that humans will always have a stock of beef. But when the people in control gain power over the access to the bovine, then what happens is greed gets into the picture, and it's like no longer just about exponentially pushing these bovine into the future for the future of all mankind, but rather it's let's make the bovine as big as possible, and it gets blown out of proportion because then the profit motive kicks in, and then you have BGH and
right.
all of this stuff that it's like, yo, like I do not want chemicals in my food. I do not want poisons in my food.
Right, and John was talking to you about Codex Alimentarius, right?
No.
A little bit, maybe. There's this thing, and this is interesting for all of you watching too.
Hopefully.
Called Codex Alimentarius, right? And by I think 2010 is the date, or December 2009.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they this organization that has been it's basically a codex of all the different foods that we have. Well, not all the different foods, but all of the processed foods that we have. And it was adopted by the WTO just automatically. because they needed some trade regulations for food, and that's what this is. They call it a trade commission. And you can go to naturalsolutions.org or healthfreedomusa.org, I think. You might want to check it out.
Google it.
Google Codex Alimentarius and find out all the information about it because it's really important. Some of the things in there are like bringing back DDT for use in farms.
Yes. No.
and using the bovine growth hormone on all milk products, all cows, everywhere. So you can't get regular organic milk anymore. to have all animal products treated with antibiotics, which would basically screw up all our
the delicate balance within our ecosystem.
exactly, and the way that we treat diseases. And the fucked up thing is that these people actually estimate a certain number of billion of people are actually going to die when this goes into effect because of all the fucked up things that are involved with it. So I don't know really how that got passed, but obviously it's about population control.
Yeah. It's eugenics.
And also for keeping the working person less intelligent. I mean, we have so much that comes from our food.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are what you eat.